Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Executive Table Talk live here on LinkedIn. My name is JT O'Donnell. I'm the founder and CEO of Work It Daily and the host for today. And our topic is how to stay current with trends as a busy executive. I love this. And I'm happy to say I have three of our veteran executive experts here to join me. So let's get them right up onto the stage. Hello, Lisa, Michael, and Anna. How's it going today? Everybody doing well?
Yes, very good.
Fabulous. Thank you.
You all are very busy executives, but also are coming with a lot of tips and insights on how to manage things. So Lisa, I'm going to dive right into it and talk to you first. What do you do as a busy executive to stay on top of everything?
Yeah, thank you so much. As a busy global marketing executive, staying current with trends is critical in order to remain relevant and competitive in this constantly changing business world. And I have found over the years, when I don't stay current with trends, my work and my career suffer. So here are some things that I have learned throughout the years in order to stay up to date on trends. First, leverage technology. In today's digital world, technology is your friend and it helps you to stay current with trends. For me, on a daily basis, I use Chat GPT, Canva, Grammarly, Save TikTok. It's a TikTok editing tool that I use. So if you're looking at ways out there to figure out how to leverage technology, you can do things like going out there on thought leadership and industry experts across social media. Start following them. You could subscribe to podcasts and newsletters, attend webinars or events. You could do Google alerts for your keywords across industry specific for you. Or you could do online classes for specific industry things that interest you. The next thing is collaborate with your peers. It is a great way to stay up to current trends. I will tell you this group here, Anna, Michael, JT, they help me on a weekly basis think about things I haven't thought about. I know when I get together with them, I'm always like, what? You're doing what? I want to do that. So think about things about connecting with people you admire, think that they're thought leaders, join associations, join clubs, start your own peer group so that you can share thoughts and ideas. You also want to think about reading. I recently joined a marketing club here on LinkedIn. I have historically not been a great reader, but that really transformed me because I was able to put what I learned immediately into practice on my job. If reading books is not your thing, subscribe to publications in your industry, you know, Harvard Business Review or other things. On LinkedIn, there are amazing things that you can follow, news publications you can follow. 5-10 minutes, you can get your updates. You can follow industry thought leaders, and then you can put that into practice in your daily job that can have an impact. Another thing is attend conferences and networking events. We're back in person. You can be with like-minded business people. And I know that sometimes that carves out a big chunk of your day. There are still tons of online industry events that you can take advantage of. And the last thing I want to mention is continuous learning. We fall prey to not doing this. And I encourage you to push yourself to continuously learn. I've mentioned a ton of things here: online courses, attending events, reading. When you do this, you up your skill sets, you stay in the know on the latest trends, and most importantly, you stay competitive.
Oh, I love it. Lisa, the fact that you mentioned Chat GPT as something you're using on a daily basis when it's just hit the scene shows me how much you are dialed into trends and staying on top of the things that you need to be, especially in your line of work. But I love that. And I love that you talked about learning from others. You know, one of the reasons, folks, that we're hosting these executive table talks, these ETTs here live on LinkedIn on a regular basis is for exactly what Lisa's talking about, is to bring, you know, experts and executives from the field to share their knowledge with you. So it's very good to see you endorsing that, Lisa, as well. I appreciate it. All right, Michael, we're jumping over to you. You know, an executive in the NFL, you've seen it all, you've done it all. Talk about having to stay on top of things. What's your advice?
Yes, in the world of sports, as the NFL continues to rise in its popularity, there's also challenges and adversity that also comes with that. The NFL must find ways to predict the future, to get ahead of these challenges and remain an industry leader. So the first of all we talked about yesterday was the know your audience. And just as Anna and Lisa mentioned, you have to know your audience. The NFL targets millennials and others, but millennials an uphill battle in finding ways to entice millennials to attend the games. The rise in technology has made it easier for fans to consume the games in the comfort of their own homes. Many major sports leagues have made it easier to consume games on their mobile devices at networks, as far as like NFL networks. As we go into my second point is technology integration. Just as Lisa mentioned, the pace of technology keeps changing. Fans want to connect with the games on their social media accounts like Facebook and Twitter. If the teams are not proactive on these accounts, the fans will not follow the team. And also game day experience. The NFL wants to give the fans an experience at the game and in the stadiums that the TV can't give you. That's why they have the hat days, the bobblehead, and the foam fingers, and all that. And also, the teams want you to enjoy and experience the pregame tailgating, the pregame shows, the halftime entertainment, and the postgame celebration. So, and also, predicting the future. The league is also constantly trying to predict the future and see which way sports are going. And I want to add one more trend is the economic trend. I remember in 2008, I spent an entire summer going through budgets when we had the economic downturn when President Obama first went into office. We had a lot of we had to go through the NFL. We had to go through our budgets, and anything not nailed down with a contract, we had to let these things go, and we're not going to do it. So, holiday parties, summer outings, and the communications department had a little desk where they kept all these newspapers from all over the country, and I would go at a 2-hour bus ride every day. So I would go there and read these newspapers like the LA Times, New York Times, and Chicago Tribune, the Boston Globe. So I would go in and read these papers and enjoy different ideas from different parts of the country. And also, as the automobile industry was struggling during that time, and the American people or the government was giving them loans and all that to keep their business afloat, they were watching our government was watching how they were spending their money. So we knew that they weren't going to be able to buy the box seats and the suites and all that. So things are being watched. So we had to change our strategies and our budgets around for these kinds of trends.
Love it. I mean, thank you for the real world examples. I think it's always so helpful when somebody can listen to that and understand. And, one of the first things you talked about was knowing your audience, and that idea of, what are the millennial trends? How are those different from other generations is huge. But also, like you said, trends depending on economic times, what's happening in the market, and the evolution. I can't even imagine how hard it must be at a place like the NFL to always be one step ahead of your customer, to always give them something that surprises and delights, right, in order to retain them and keep them loyal. So the amount of planning and trend analysis you have to do is incredible. So thank you for that, Michael. That was fabulous. And that brings us down to Anna. Anna, you've worked in very large organizations. You coach executives. How do you stay on top of trends to make sure you're bringing your A game?
JT, I think one of the biggest learnings in my career has been to certainly prioritize learning. And one of the ways, I have 4 or 5 things to share with all of you today, but one of them is certainly prioritize learning. And one of the ways in which learning occurs certainly is by being curious, by the carving time in your schedule. So one of the things that I would absolutely recommend for everyone is to put time in your calendars, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever amount of time, or maybe 30 minutes morning, 30 minutes evening, whatever works best with all of you, and incorporate some of that good reading and learning that you're going to be doing from those latest trends. One of the ways to translate this is by asking questions. So from people that you respect and admire in your organization, for example, or outside your organization, having an opportunity to ask, how do you stay current on the latest trends in our industry or in your industry? What are some of the ways in which you do that? And just start to incorporate some of those great ideas. I remember one time for CEO for GE, I asked him, very specifically about this, and he told me that his one of his approaches, he told me several things, but one of his approaches that was very, very telling to me was he loved to read biographies of, people that have led very interesting life and have had really impactful ways to change the world, to impact how things were done, etc. And in that way, he also got inspired. So not only things from the future and what might be happening in the current events, but also things from the past. So I just want to bring that as part of my number one, prioritize learning. The second piece is build a network of, similar to what Lisa was sharing, which I thought was very insightful, build a network of peers and experts in your industry. Who do you really respect and admire? Follow them. Make sure that you understand what they are, what the analysis, the research, the focus that they're getting. And most importantly, always keep an open mind in terms of, what does this mean for my business, for my organization, for the future of my, my products, my services, etc. And have an opportunity to compare and contrast as well with those people that are part of your network. Have those good, detailed conversations. This is going to be in spades going forward. The third piece, which Lisa alluded, and I think you did a beautiful job, Lisa, with utilizing technology. There's probably one additional thing from all the good stuff that you shared, which is incorporate maybe some Google alerts with a particular topic that you are interested in generating or having, and fine-tune that so that you can get the latest and greatest. That's just one way. There's a multitude of ways I'm sure that you guys can provide. The fourth or fifth is delegating a little bit of the responsibility. And what I mean by that is, if you have a team of people, also have them be part of the community on what the key trends might be out there in the industry, and have an input from them into whatever the trends might be for the rest of everybody, so that through that delegation, they don't only build their own muscle going forward, but also you gain from the power of community. And I think the last piece, which Lisa also alluded to, which is read. You have to have an opportunity to read, and read from the perspective of having the time, the alone time, the quiet time to really read and soak in those concepts and those ideas, those new possibilities that are out there. As you very well know, not everything that is out there is relevant for you, but you do need that peace and quiet to have that reading time with really focused attention. So those are probably my 5 top areas that I would recommend for this particular topic, JT and team.
Thank you, Anna. Fantastic. I love that. So I'm hearing some common themes here. Folks, just a reminder, I am talking with top executives from Work It Daily here on the subject of how to stay current with trends as a busy executive. If you have questions for our executives today, please pop them in the chat. We'll see if we can do our best to have them answer them for you. I have a question for all of you. I'd like to know, and I won't hold you to it, but what percentage of your time do you think in your work do you devote to this kind of trend analysis? The reading, the networking, the different things that you all described in order to stay on top of that. Do you have any sense of it? I'd be curious. Anyone want to go? Lisa, what do you think?
I'll jump in. I probably spend about 10 to 20% of my time on this, about 10% my personal time, and then, the 20% more just because I'm in marketing and I got to make sure that I'm understanding what's going on from a trend perspective for the business that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. But 10% of my personal time to make sure that I'm staying competitive and, reading books, and personally, how do I keep that competitive edge?
Definitely. I have a method to my question, so I want to keep going. Michael, what about you?
Yes. And what I do, especially in the financial end of the business, what I do at the NFL is that I do trend analysis all the time, like comparing budget to actual, last year to actual, because people want to know, how are we pacing? How are we pacing compared to last year? How are we pacing compared to our budget? So yeah, we use trend analysis. I would say about about 15 to 20% of the time in my day and in the weeks and the months I work is towards trend analysis, looking at trends.
Love it. Absolutely. And Anna, what about you?
Following my own recipe, I do have within my calendar an allotted 1 hour a day to do trend analysis religiously, 1 hour a day.
I love it. So here's why I asked you all this, and I want everyone to pay attention. The higher you go in your career in terms of becoming an executive like these folks, where they are responsible for not just managing, but also coming up with solutions, plans, growth, strategy, the more of this analysis you need to do, don't you think? I've just found, certainly running a company like Work It Daily, a good percentage of my time has to be staying on top of this stuff. Otherwise, someone else is going to come in and beat us, right? We're going to fall behind the times. We're not going to be in touch. And it's very hard to claw back from that once you've lost your position, once you've lost your edge. So I'm really encouraged to hear you all say anywhere from 10, 20%. I would argue I am definitely 20%. If I had more time, like I would love to grow my business to a point where I could actually outsource more and get it up to 30%, because I think the more time I have to learn this stuff and take it in, the more creative I can get with the solutions, the more cutting edge I can get for our business. So just really interesting that you all share with that. I just want to give a shout out. Pamela said she does 1 to 2 hours a day. I bet that sounds very much on trend for what we're hearing as well. So great to hear some of you dropping that in. All right, we have a question from Micah. Great question. ChatGPT is one of the newest trends I've seen. What are your views on using it for business versus creative creation? I'm going to go with you first, Lisa, just because you mentioned it. What are your thoughts on that?
I use it as a co-editing tool. I am the author of my work. I have to stand by it. I have to make sure that it's sourced, it's accurate. But I use ChatGPT to help me with a number of things, from writing, from researching, from helping with idea generation. It helps me do quite a bit more than I'm not able to, because you input it, you get things out immediately, versus me researching and trying to brainstorm on my own. But then when I get the information, then I need to edit it and make sure it's accurate before I put anything out. But I do it from creatively and from writing, from keyword search, from everything like that I would normally do with the team. But I'm using it, like I said, as a co-editing, not as a you are the final source.
Yeah, I'm going to just ditto there and say that's how I'm using it as well. I think it's a wonderful starter for anything you're trying to write, yes. But then to make sure your own voice and that what it's put together is accurate becomes really important. Here, for example, we produce a daily newsletter, and there's a lot to cover in the newsletter. So it's been particularly helpful for me to quickly phrase and summarize what's going to be covered, in an article we're featuring or whatever. And it's definitely saved a lot of time. So very, very valuable feature, but I don't think it's ever going to take away the need. In fact, it creates more of a need for us to still edit, like you said, and it's a co-creator of the product. Michael, Anna, either of you using ChatGPT at all?
I know a little bit about it. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know it's good for research, and it also gives me direction. If I want a direction to go in a certain way or know where I need to go, I think it's a very useful tool, and I think it's great technology. I really do.
I agree. What about you, Anna?
And from my particular perspective, one of the things that we have to keep in mind is, with this fabulous question, is that we have to be self-aware and very aware of the power of the tools that artificial intelligence brings, or AI. In this particular case, we're talking about ChatGPT. And I'll just give you guys a quick example. If you were to decide to input, let's say that you want a perspective on trends, we're talking about financials and stuff, and you were to input your own information from your own organization into ChatGPT, that becomes part of the repertoire of ChatGPT. So it's very, very important that we profoundly and deeply understand how to use this tool, like any other tool that we have had access to, because there are some limitations and there are some challenges that it's going to bring. So I think it's a great question. I guess my bottom line recommendation would be, it depends for how and what you're going to use it. Just be mindful of the fact that it's created by humans and that it's biased. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I love that you're saying that, right? Again, I think that leads to the go back and edit and make sure, because you just don't know. But really interesting point about, hey, what you're putting into it is adding to it, is contributing to it. And you need to be thinking about that. Random side note, a friend of mine is in private equity and he's at a conference this week and he starts sending me, he sees all these pitches, right? Like it's a futurist conference. And so another great thing to go to when you're thinking about trend analysis, friends, as Lisa mentioned, you know, conferences. And he just started taking pictures of some of the top topics and sent them to me. And I mean, when I say my jaw dropped, I couldn't believe some of these things that these companies were predicting. One of which was a dating app that would use AI to run the whole first part of your date for you. Mm-hmm. So you are going to put your info in and it's going to go off and have a conversation with other people and basically get to some touch points that say, oh, you should probably step in now. It's a good fit. What, you know, like, so to think that we have such crazy trends like that, I don't care who you are on this call today, your industry, there are some major disruptive trends happening in your industry right now. And, you know, I always said the bigger the disruption, the bigger innovation. So when the pandemic hit, I kept saying that over and over to people. The amount of disruption this pandemic is causing and will continue to create, the innovation that will come out of it will be mind-blowing. And we can all point to so many things that have come out of that, but we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
You know, like, right? Just getting there. It's absolutely incredible. So I love this. All right, I'm going to go around the room. I've got another question. Folks, if you've got questions for these awesome executives who are sharing their knowledge, please do. Before I ask them their next question, though, I just want to say, please jot their names down, head over to LinkedIn, follow them. Better yet, send them a custom connection request and say, I saw you on ETT and I'd love to connect. They are dropping incredible knowledge bombs. That's what I'll call it. You know, wisdom in their LinkedIn feeds. They're all have creator mode turned on and are sharing really valuable insights in their areas of expertise. This is a wonderful way for you to stay on top on trends by following incredible executives like these. Okay. All right. So my next question for all of you when it comes to trends, has there ever been a trend that everyone was claiming was going to be really, really hot in your industry and it turned to kind of like fizzle out? Do you know what I'm saying? And I'll give you an example. So when all the technology started happening in our space, like job boards and LinkedIn, they said, oh, well, resumes will go away. Like you'll never need resumes ever again. Well, we're still using resumes, you know, I mean, we'd like to bury them, trust me. But the flurry that went around, you know, these LinkedIn in particular, they were like, there's the disruptor. It's the end of everything, but it doesn't. Did any of you, and I hate to put you on the spot, but has there ever been a trend that didn't pan out that you can think of? Yeah, Lisa, you got one?
Sure. You know, I think one trend, I mean, it's still going on, but it hasn't really, you know, blown up is QR codes. You know, people still use them, but it's not massive. And it kind of just came in and fizzled out a little bit and is still around, but hasn't really gone to the masses and really blown up in marketing. That's an example of something.
That's so funny you say that. I mean, I use them in restaurants. I feel like the menu. That's how you get the menu these days in a lot of places. They did the QR code, but that's a good point. Yeah. Anyone else? And not to put you on the spot, but what the heck? No? Maybe our audience will share some as well. I don't know. I think you know, one of the things about trend analysis is you're looking at the trends, but it doesn't mean every single one of them is going to come true, which is even more reason why you need to stay on top of them. Right? Before you pour too much money or time into pursuing something that ultimately isn't going to pan out, you know? So definitely worth it. Another reason, folks, for you to invest that time and energy for sure. I like it. All right. Well, okay. One more question then, and then it'll be time to go, unfortunately. So if you had to predict a trend based on your research to date in 2023 that you think will be hot, and we won't use Chat GPT because we already know like that's a winner. Is there something in your space that you think is going to really grow or be big? Anyone? Michael.
Yes, I think as far as the sports industry goes, I think international games, having games in foreign countries, whether it's, having teams over there that the owners own, or are NFL teams going there to play. China, Africa, Mexico. I mean, it's already started in Europe, but I think it's going to expand out to other places. I think globally, getting teams and people to look at what you have, your product globally, is going to be really, really going to be big.
I love it. I love it. And you know what's funny about that, Michael? What a way to show people the world. Like, we always know about big places to go in the world, but to go, you know, even play in third world countries or places that people have never seen before, such an opportunity to educate people in spaces. Love that. Anna, what about you? Got any trends?
Yes, and there's definitely a nice bunch of them. But I think one that I think is going to, one of my predictions or things that I'm anticipating is that internal mobility within an organization will become much, much smoother and clearer than it has ever been before. This is one of the opportunities, or those low-hanging fruits that organizations have that they not very effectively take advantage of, because there's a lot of competition for talent, even though it's internally, and more in this day and age. So internal mobility, where as employees, you're going to have an opportunity to move over a certain set of criteria, you know, choose and move into another team under another leader, is going to become one of the opportunities that employees will have. This will give a challenge, an important challenge for management and managers and leaders to upskill and bring their A game as managers or leaders, so that people will want to come and be part of their teams. And two, it will give an opportunity for people to have that flexibility and that growth within the same confines of that given organization. If not, people will continue to look outside.
I love it. Great, great feedback. So true. It's so true right now. Lisa, what about you? Any trends you think are going to come true?
I think there's two. I mean, we're already experiencing this as personalization and interactivity, interactive experiences. But with AI technology, personalization and interactive experiences are going to just even blow up. So with the data and analytics that we're going to be able to collect, you're going to be able to personalize your messaging so much more than we've ever seen. And it's going to be much easier to personalize your marketing messages out across all platforms, and interactive experiences. I mean, we're seeing this on big scale with big brands, but you're going to be able to do interactive experiences across so many platforms, so many different levels than we've seen before because of AI. It's really going to take it to a whole nother level over the coming years.
Yeah, so fascinating. I'll just end by saying, when we were talking about the AI trends, it reminds me of social media. There's so much good that has come out of social media. You know, TikTok taught me, or what, but we also have to deal with the negative side of it, you know, and that's happened. And so I think we just have to be really conscious users of all these things, for sure. But I am excited for that personalization you're talking about. I think that's going to be making the experience so much more enhanced. Folks, this was amazing. Thank you so much for fielding all those questions, sharing your thoughts and knowledge. I'm going to say it one more time to our audience. Please give your executives a round of applause. In the comments, tell us what was your favorite part of today. But most importantly, please go find and follow these elite executives on LinkedIn. They are sharing incredible knowledge in their feeds. It's going to be one of the best ways for you to stay on top of trends, for sure. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, remember what we tell you. If you want to win, you've got to work it daily. We'll see you soon on the next Executive Table Talk. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.